Welcome back to Journeys by Jingle, the podcast where we talk about all things travel, the dreaming, the planning, and the insider knowledge that makes the difference between a good vacation and an unforgettable one. I'm Jennifer Engel, and today I have an episode I have been genuinely excited to record. Group Cruising Decoded. What I learned and why you need to be on one of my trips. So I just completed live certification training through CLIA, the Cruise Lines International Association, specifically focused on group cruises. And I want to share what I learned because some of it genuinely surprised me. And all of it is directly relevant to something big I am putting together for 2027. So here's how today is structured. First, we're going to talk about what group cruising actually is, because it's not what most people picture when they hear that phrase. Second, I'm going to share some of what I took away from CLIA training that I think every traveler should know. And finally, and this is the part I'm most excited about, I'm going to introduce you to the hosted group trips I have coming up with specific details on how you can get on board. Because here's the thing, I have space available on these trips, real space right now. And if any part of today's episode resonates with you, I want you to reach out before those spots are gone. So let's get into it. First, what is a group cruise and what it is not? Let me start by clearing up the biggest misconception about group travel, because I hear it all the time. I don't want to be on a tour bus with a bunch of strangers being herded around. That is not a group cruise. That is not even close. A hosted group cruise is something entirely different. Here's how it actually works. A travel advisor, that's me, contracts a block of staterooms on a specific sailing. The cruise itself is completely open to the general public. Your group isn't cordoned off somewhere. You have full access to everything on the ship. You eat when you want, explore when you want, sleep in when you want. You are a regular cruise passenger with one major bonus. You have a built-in community of people you already know or are getting to know, and you have your advisor. Again, that's me, on the ship with you. That last part is something people don't always realize. When you sail in one of my hosted groups, I am there, in person. I am not behind a desk somewhere. I am on the ship, available to help, to organize optional dinners, to make sure everyone's experience is going smoothly. That is a very different experience from booking a cruise through a website and showing up alone. Group cruises also come with perks that individual bookings typically don't. Depending on the group size, there can be onboard credits, exclusive cocktail parties, reserved dining times, and other amenities that get layered on top of what the ship already offers. My CLIA training went deep on how to negotiate and structure these benefits, and I have to say, some of what I learned genuinely changed how I'm approaching my groups going forward. The bottom line, a group cruise is a vacation with the structure handled, with an expert on board, and often with perks you wouldn't get on your own. It's one of the best values in travel, and it's one of the most underutilized options out there. So let's talk about the training itself, because I want to give you a window into what that looks like. CLIA, the Cruise Lines International Association, is the governing body for the cruise industry. When a travel advisor earns a CLIA certification, it's a recognized credential that signals to both clients and cruise lines that this person has done the work. The group cruise training I just completed was a live certification, which means it wasn't just videos and a quiz. It was a deep dive into the actual logistics, strategy, and guest experience mechanics of running a successful hosted group cruise. Here are a few things I walked away thinking about differently. First, the value of early commitment. Group cruise contracts work differently than individual bookings. When I secure a block of cabins, I'm committing to those rooms early, which means I can often lock in better rates before prices increase. But it also means that when you book with me, you're protecting yourself from the price increases that happen as sailings fill up. The travelers who wait to see if something comes along are often the ones who end up paying significantly more or missing the sailing altogether. Second, the power of a shared experience. CLIA's research on group travel is fascinating. Travelers who cruise in groups report higher satisfaction scores, stronger likelihood to cruise again, and more memorable experience than those who travel solo or in pairs, even on the exact same ship. There's something special about sharing a moment, watching glaciers calve in Alaska, or seeing the New England coastline in peak fall color from the water with other people who share your same interests that just hits differently. Third, the role of the host advisor. My job on a group sailing is not to plan every minute of your trip. It's to be the point person, the connector, the one who makes sure logistics don't fall on you. Optional events, dining reservations, excursion recommendations, troubleshooting anything that comes up. That's my job. Your job is to show up and enjoy it. Okay, here's what you've been waiting for. I have 3 hosted group trips in the pipeline, and I want to walk you through each one. But I'm going to spend the most time on the one I am most focused on filling right now, and that is Glaciers and Grandeur, our Alaska cruise in July 2027. Here are the details. We sail July 2027, exactly 1 year from the time of this recording, on Royal Caribbean's Serenade of the Seas. It is a 7-night itinerary, round trip from Vancouver, British Columbia. Alaska by cruise ship is genuinely one of the most spectacular travel experiences available on the planet. I'm not using that word loosely. You are sailing through some of the most dramatic scenery on Earth. Massive glaciers, fjords, wildlife, bald eagles, humpback whales. You wake up every morning to something that looks like a painting. The Serenade of the Seas is a beautiful ship, intimate enough to feel personal, well appointed, with everything you need. And because we're sailing as a group, we have the added layer of shared moments. Watching our first glacier together, sitting on deck as we cruise through Tracy Arm Fjord, comparing notes over dinner about what we saw that day. Okay, probably not dinner, but you can find me at the piano bar in the evening. Here's the honest part. I had some cancellations in this group due to health issues with a family member, and I need to fill 7 more staterooms. That is why I'm talking about this specifically today and making it the priority. These spots will go. Alaska in July is a premium sailing window, and the rates I have locked in will not be available as we get closer to the sail date. In fact, they are not available as of today. My group rates beat what they currently have listed as the going rate. Secondly, I am shocked at how many of the cabin categories are already sold out on this cruise that is a year away. So, how do you get on this trip? The deposit to hold your stateroom is $500 per stateroom. That's all it takes to secure your spot. And when you think about what you're getting, a 7-night Alaskan cruise hosted by me on one of the best itineraries available, $500 to hold that is genuinely a no-brainer. If Alaska has ever been on your bucket list, and I know it is for a lot of you, because I've heard it in consultations for years, this is the trip. This is the one, and I want you on this ship with me. Reach out to me directly at jingle@kingdomdestinations.com. DM me on Instagram or Facebook, or check out the website, journeysbyjingle.net. There's a spot on that website at the very top called Alaska Glaciers and Grandeur. You can click on that. I want to talk to you about this trip. I will answer every question you have and get you the information you need to say yes. So let's talk about my second group trip for 2027. And this is one that I think is a hidden gem. And I mean that. People don't always think of fall foliage cruises, but they absolutely should. October 2027, we're sailing a 7-night New England and Canada itinerary round trip from Boston, Massachusetts. Yes, that's Boston in the fall, aboard Norwegian's Breakaway. Here's why this trip is special. Peak fall foliage in New England is one of the most stunning seasonal events in North America. The colors, the reds, the oranges, the golds are extraordinary. And experiencing that from the water, sailing into ports like Portland, Maine, Quebec City, and Halifax, Nova Scotia is a completely different experience than driving the leaf peeping circuit. You unpack once, you wake up in a new port every day, you see the fall colors from the deck of a ship. Now, the Norwegian Breakaway is a larger, feature-rich ship. It has great entertainment, excellent dining options, plenty of amenities, and Boston is a wonderful home port. Easy to fly into, a beautiful city to explore if you want to arrive a day early, which I highly, strongly, very strongly, highly recommend. The deposit for this trip is $250 per stateroom. That's a very accessible entry point for a trip that honestly people rave about. Fall foliage cruises have some of the highest satisfaction scores in the industry. This one is perfect if Alaska feels like a big commitment, but you still want a genuine group experience with me. It's also a great option for anyone who loves New England, has family in the Northeast, or has always been curious about Canada's maritime provinces. Personally, I can't wait to check out Anne of Green Gables. So let's talk about my last cruise, and this may be the one that you have been waiting for. I'm going to give you a quick tease of this, and it's something that I will be talking about a lot more in future episodes. In 2028, I'm hosting the Fraidy Cats cruise. You heard that right. This is a 4-night sailing on board Royal Caribbean's iconic Oasis of the Seas. So what is a Fraidy Cats cruise? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a cruise designed for my friends who are first-time cruisers, who are a little nervous about cruising, people who think they might not like it, people who've been talked into it by a spouse or by me, people who are afraid they'll get seasick or claustrophobic or bored. This trip is designed to prove them wrong, gently, joyfully, and with a whole lot of fun. More details are coming soon, but if you know someone who has said, "I'll never go on a cruise," tell them about this. This one might just change your mind. And I promise you will never see the ocean from the ship unless you want to. So let me leave you with this. Group cruising is one of the most rewarding ways to travel, and it's one of the most underutilized. You get the freedom of a cruise, the community of traveling with people you care about, the expertise of a hosted advisor on board, and perks that individual travelers don't get. It's genuinely a great product. I have worked hard to build trips that are worth your time and your investment. My CLIA certification is a commitment to doing this right. And right now, I have real spots available on 2 incredible 2027 sailings. If Alaska has been calling your name, 7 nights, Royal Caribbean, round trip from Vancouver, July 2027, please reach out today. $500 holds your stateroom. If fall foliage on the water sounds like your kind of adventure, 7 nights, Norwegian breakaway, New England and Canada, round trip from Boston, October 2027, reach out. $250 holds your stateroom. Find me at journeysbyjingle.net, on Instagram at jen.ingle, or on Facebook. I want to hear from you. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep planning, and I'll see you on the next journey.